Hi, friends. In our previous discussion, when we are talking about Josephson effect in superconductivity, we come across a term called Cooper pair. That is, an electron pairing with another electron. Naturally, we should have a doubt that two electrons being similar charges should have a repulsive force acting between them that makes it highly impossible to get paid. But actually that happens. How that can happen? How a normal conductor, when temperature is decreased, becoming a superconductor, how that superconducting state is coming. All this can be understood from a very interesting microscopic theory named as BCS theory. Here the alphabets BCS are derived from the first letters of the names of the three different scientists, namely Bardeen, Cooper, and Schaefer. These are the three great scientific personalities who have tried to propose a very minute, detailed internal microscopic theory named after them later. This theory explains the superconducting state of a superconductor. And this theory involves something interesting, what is known as electron interaction through mediators called phonons. They have introduced a new term called phonon. What are these phonons? Phonons are nothing but lattice vibrations. When you take a conductor, it is a solid. Solid structure can be imagined as a crystal or a lattice. So the atoms inside, when they vibrate, they are called lattice vibrations. So lattice vibrations are what are termed as phonon. So according to this theory, electron interaction through phonon mediator help us to understand the arrival of superconducting state for a material from a normal conducting state. To understand that, let us look at a basic concept, something like this. Consider a normal conductor like this. So these are electrons in a normal conductor or atoms in a normal conductor. Electrons resulted in. These are nothing but the conductor related lattice atoms. So in a normal conductor, the electrons will be moving at random. So whenever they move at random, there is a possibility for these electrons to collide with the lattice atoms, crystal lattice, that is lattice vibrations, which is named as phonons. So whenever they approach vibrating atoms, there is a possibility of repulsion that can take. There is an attraction as well as repulsion. But the force of repulsion is so predominant that attractive force can be neglected. So because of the repulsive force predominating the attractive force, as a result, they get scattered. Like this electron while approaching like this, it gets scattered. This electron approaching like this gets scattered. Like this gets scattered. Like this gets scattered. Like that, the scattering takes place. So, because of the repulsive force predominating the attractive force, these electrons that get scattered, the moment you use the word scattering resulting in the existence of a resistance. That is, resistance comes into picture. So, as a result, because they are getting scattered, resistance comes into existence. Right? Now, when you try to cool this normal conductor by decreasing the temperature below the critical temperature, this particular normal conductor starts converting into a superconductor. That is, when this normal conductor is converted into superconductor by decreasing the temperature below the critical temperature, due to decrease in the energy, scattering of electrons by the lattice vibrations also decreases. And in order to maintain the stable state, the electrons are forced to get paired up. And these pairs are what are termed as Cooper pairs. To explain the pairing of electrons, these three BCS theory helps us to introduce another term called electron phonon interaction. So because of the electron-phonon interaction, according to BCS theory, this pairing is taking place. So first we have to understand then what is electron-phonon interaction. That means electrons being similar charges, how they are pairing, how it is possible to pair electrons. To understand that, we need to understand electron-phonon interaction. So now the first step for us is to understand what is this concept called electron-phonon interaction in BCS theory. That helps us to arrive at how electrons are pairing. That means we all know that in a solid, electrons are traveling at random. So when electrons are traveling in a solid, they interact with the lattice vibrations. That is the atoms of the crystal material. So because the electrons are traveling in a solid, interact with lattice vibrations because of electrostatic forces between them. The electrostatic forces between them make it to oscillate. The moment they are oscillating means moving with oscillation, they can collide with the crystal atoms, that is the lattice atoms, and distortion can take place. So therefore the oscillator distortion of the lattice can be measured. So therefore the oscillator distortion of the lattice, which is quantized in terms of phonons. So phonon is a measure of lattice distortion. Phonon is a measure of oscillator distortion of the lattice. That means the interaction that is taking place between the solid atoms of the conductor and the electrons due to electrostatic force between them causing oscillator distortion is what is known as electron-phonon interaction. This electron-phonon interaction can help us to understand that it is leading to scattering. So interaction of electron-phonon is causing scattering. So when it leads to scattering of electrons, resulting in change in electrical resistivity of the material. The resistivity is sensitive with temperature, especially in the low temperature region, because at that temperature the number of phonons increases with the temperature. So before we proceed further, let me quickly recap about what I have just explained now. When you use the word electron-phonon interaction, that means that electrons traveling in a solid, they interact with the lattice vibrations by virtue of electrostatic forces between them. That oscillation causes some distortion of the lattice. So therefore, the oscillator distortion of the lattice is quantized in terms of phonons. This interaction is what is called electron-phonon interaction. This electron-phonon interaction leads to scattering of electrons, and hence it causes a change in the electrical resistivity of the material. The resistivity is very sensitive with the temperature, particularly in the low temperature region, because the number of phonons increases with temperature. So it is assumed from the BCS theory that the electron-phonon interaction, it causes the Cooper pair. So how it can be assumed according to this theory, we shall try to understand now. Now let us see what BCS theory talks about. Suppose here is an electron. An electron is moving in the form of a wave. Therefore, it has a charge, it is having a wave vector. Let the wave vector of this electron at this point be k1. So, when an electron with a wave vector k1, while oscillating, if it encounters a lattice ion is nothing but positive ion of the core. So, when an electron with a wave vector k1 encounters a lattice ion, it suffers a Coulombian interaction. And because of that interaction, the momentum of the electron decreases by an amount proportional to this value. So this is K1 minus Q is nothing but the momentum of the electron. When this electron with this wave vector K1 encounters a lattice ion, when it's because of that it suffers a Coulombian interaction, and that interaction resulting in the momentum of the electron decreasing by an amount proportional to k1 minus q, and the lattice is set into motion by gaining this momentum from the electron proportional to q. The lattice vibration is quantized and characterized by the energy packets what we call as phonons, which are virtual. Phonons are nothing but virtual concept. So the lattice vibration is quantized and characterized by energy packets called phonons. So at the same time, another electron at this point with a wave vector k2 may enter this volume, and this electron interacts with the distorted lattice and gains this momentum. And the gain depends on the phase of the vibration at that instant. The electron energy is lowered. I am recapping. When an electron with a wave vector k1 encounters a lattice ion, it suffers a Coulombian interaction. As a result of this interaction, the momentum of the electron decreases by an amount k1 minus q, and the lattice is set into the motion, gaining the momentum from the electron proportional to q. The lattice vibration is quantized and characterized by the energy packets called phonons, which are virtual. At the same time, if another electron with a wave vector k2, when it enters this volume, and this electron interacts with the distorted lattice and gains the momentum. The gain depends on the phase of the vibration at that instant. The electron energy is naturally get lowered. When you say the energy is lowered, electron energy is lowered, the lowering of energy indicates that the force between the electrons is attractive and the interaction is through phonons. Therefore, you can think that the electron with a wave vector k1 emits a virtual phonon q, which is absorbed by the second electron with the wave vector k2, and the two electrons are scattered with wave vectors k1 minus q and k2 minus q. Two vectors scattered k1 minus q, and because this is got gain, and this is k2 plus q, whatever that got scattered. I am repeating. Here we said the electron energy is lowered, and because of the lowering of energy, it indicates that the force between the electrons is attractive and the interaction is through phonons. Therefore, it can be thought that electron with a wave vector k1, it emits a virtual phonon q, which is absorbed by the second electron with a wave vector k2. And the two electrons are scattered with wave vectors k1 minus q here, and there is gain here, and k2 plus q. This process is a virtual one, and energy therefore is not conserved. The process is so fast and the process is so rapid that with the emission and absorption of the phonon, the short-lived phonon is what is called virtual phonon. The two electrons that should have equal and opposite spin, and their energies are same. Therefore, you can pair them like this. The short-lived phonons, the two electrons should have equal and opposite spin, and their energies are same. Then the interaction between them naturally is attractive only. So as a result of such attractive interaction, there exists a pair of electrons known as Cooper pairs, and a Cooper pair can be denoted by this symbol. So for your benefit, I am recapping the total thing briefly for a better understanding. So when an electron with a wave vector k1 encounters a lattice ion, it suffers a Coulombian interaction. As a result of this interaction, the momentum of the electron is decreased by an amount k1 minus q, and the lattice is set into motion, gaining a momentum from the electron proportional to q. The lattice vibration is quantized and characterized by the energy packets called phonon. Phonons are nothing but virtual here. So at the same time, another electron, let us say with a wave vector k2, if it enters this volume, then this electron interacts with the distorted lattice and gains that momentum. So therefore, the energy of the electron is lowered. Understood? So the lowering of energy means it indicates that the force between the electron is attractive and the interaction is through phonons. Therefore, it can be thought that electron with a wave vector k1, it emits a virtual phonon q, which is absorbed by the second electron with a wave vector k2, and the two electrons are scattered with wave vectors k1 minus q and k2 plus q respectively. Now this process is a virtual one and the energy is not conserved. So the process is very rapid with the emission and absorption of the phonon. The short-lived phonon is what is called virtual phonon. The two electrons should have therefore equal and opposite spins and their energies are the same. Then the interaction between them is attractive. So as a result of such attractive interactions, there exists a pair of electrons called Cooper pairs, and a Cooper pair is denoted by the spin like this. Therefore, the electrons in a superconductor are in the form of Cooper pairs. A Cooper pair is a system of two electrons having equal and opposite momenta and spin. The energy of the pair is lowered when compared to the free separate electrons. At low temperature, that is the critical temperature, the Cooper pair's interaction with the positive ion core almost vanishes and hence resistivity becomes zero. Thus the conductor becomes a superconductor. Understood? The electrons in a superconductor are in the form of Cooper pairs. Just now I told. A Cooper pair is nothing but a system of two electrons having equal and opposite momenta and spin. The energy of the pair is lowered when compared to the free separate electrons. So at that low temperature, that is what we call as critical temperature Tc, the Cooper pair interaction with the positive ion core of the system almost vanishes. That means the resistivity is becoming zero. Thus the conductor is becoming a superconductor. This is what you need to understand about Bardeen-Cooper-Scherfer theory, explaining us about electron-phonon interaction. Through that understanding, how the electrons, irrespective of their charges, despite that they are similar charges, getting paid. This is what is known as BCS theory. Now let us look at some of the applications of superconductivity in day-to-day life. As I told you in the beginning, this is one of the modern day technologies. So therefore, if you look at the electrical power generation, the future electrical generators could be like this. So the superconducting generators we are going to get. These superconducting generators are very small in size, they are very less in weight, and also they consume very low energy. So therefore the low loss superconducting coil is rotated in a strong magnetic field. This is the basis of new generation of energy saving power systems. In the coming ages, of course already started coming into the market, some of them. So new electrical generators are going to come. So these are going to be superconducting electric generators. They are very smaller in size, they have very less weight, they consume very low energy. So the low loss, what is the technology used inside? Low loss superconducting coil is made to rotate in a strong magnetic field. This is the basis of new generation of energy saving power systems using superconductivity. That is one application. And another one, low loss transmission lines and transformers. That means when superconducting wires are used as electrical cables, then the transmission losses are minimized. If superconductors are used for winding of a transformer, the power losses will be very small. So therefore, in future, we will be getting into use of superconducting materials for low loss transmission lines and transformers. Then there is some other application called magnetic levitation. What does this magnetic levitation mean? The diamagnetic property of a superconductor is the basis for this magnetic levitation. So this technology, magnetic levitation effect, can be used for high-speed transportation, especially in the railway sector. So therefore, magnetic levitation effect can be used for high-speed transportation. Next, yet another application of superconductor is generation of high magnetic fields. Superconducting materials are used for producing high magnetic fields with low power consumption. That is another advantage of superconductors. And then fast electrical switching. What does it mean? Fast electrical switching. The application of a magnetic field greater than the critical magnetic field, it changes the superconducting state to normal state. That we know very well. That means the applied magnetic field, that is greater than the critical magnetic field, superconducting state is changing into normal conducting state. That is what we have seen earlier. Now, the change of superconducting state to normal state and the removal of the field, it will reverse the process. This is the principle used in switching element cryotron. This principle is used in switching element cryotron. That is what the application of superconductivity is all about. And then, when it comes to the computing industry, in the central processing unit, you will have so many logical and storage functions that are happening inside a computer. So if you study the current voltage characteristics of Josephson effect, it is used for memory elements and in computers. Thus, superconductors are used to perform logic and storage functions in computing industry. And another abbreviation we have used here, SQUID is an abbreviation, SQUIDS. SQUID stands for Superconducting Quantum Interface Devices. Superconducting Quantum Interface Devices named as SQUIDs. What happens here is, two Josephson junctions are mounted in a superconducting ring to form SQUID. SQUID is nothing but a device formed on a superconducting ring by joining two Josephson junctions. That is, two Josephson junctions mounted in a superconducting ring form something what is known as SQUID, superconducting quantum interface device. The current through SQUID is very sensitive to magnetic field. So therefore it can be used as a sensitive magnetometer. These are used to study the tiny magnetic signals that are arising from our brain and heart, especially in the medical industry, to study the signals released by the brain and heart. Nowadays, medical industry is using a device called sensitive magnetometer. Sensitive magnetometer device is made up of a SQUID, which is nothing but mounting two junctions of Josephson junctions on a superconducting ring. That means, in that case, the current becomes very sensitive to magnetic field. Hence, it is used in the design of a sensitive magnetometer. Sensitive magnetometers are used to study the very minute, small, tiny magnetic signals that are coming from brain and heart. That is about SQUIDs. Next, we can see the application of superconductors in superconducting magnets. You can manufacture magnets also. Superconducting magnets consists of coils of wires made up of superconductors. Current once introduced into the coil remains for a very long time, causing stability of magnetic field for a long time. These coils can be used in electric machines, transformers, and magnetic resonance instruments, MRIs. MRI instruments we can use it. That is the purpose of superconducting magnetics. And another interesting thing, especially in the automobile industry, now we are getting something called magnetic bearings. Here, the principle is very simple. Mutual repulsion between two superconducting materials due to opposite magnetic fields is used in the construction of magnetic bearings without friction. Generally, when bearings are used in any wheel of automobile industry, after some time, due to wear and tear, they get friction coming into picture and they get damaged. Now, with the help of superconducting magnetic bearings, friction can be avoided. The principle here is used. What is that principle? there is a mutual repulsion between two superconducting materials due to opposite magnetic fields, and this is used in the construction of magnetic bearings without any friction. That is the advantage. And then you have got something called superconducting sensitive magnetometer. Sensitive magnetometer, superconducting. What is this? Quantization of magnetic flux in squids is the basis for the construction of superconducting sensitive magnetometer. Because this particular sensitive magnetometer can measure magnetic field strengths in the order of 10 power minus 3. So up to milli level you can measure. And of course, a superconducting susceptometer is also there. Superconducting susceptometer. A superconducting susceptometer consists of superconducting magnet and squid. It is used to detect the variation of iron content in the human body. So with this instrument called superconducting susceptometer, especially in the medical industry, the iron content in the human body can be measured. So that is the advantage of using superconductivity here. And another interesting technological application that is coming in superconductivity is what is known as magnetoencephalography. Magnetoencephalography. What is this? You know that doctors can locate the damaged portion of the brain. Earlier you have called CT scanning, MRI scanning, etc. Now we are having another type of scanning. So this helps the doctors to locate the damaged portion of the brain using squid magnetometers around the patient's head. And the received magnetic signals are fed to the computer for analysis. This technique is what is known as magnetoencephalography. So these are various different applications of superconductivity in science and technology, in medical industry, and in various parts of human life.